Hi boys and girls, so for math today we're going to be talking about lines of symmetry. So I don't know if you've learned about it in third grade. I think you guys have maybe touched on it a little bit, so you might have a little background knowledge. So we're going to talk about what it is and how you can find it. So if you look at the anchor chart over here, it says a line of symmetry divides a shape into two congruent parts. And you're probably thinking, what does congruent mean? So congruent means the parts are both the same size and shape. So if you look at like this picture of a heart, right? It's a shape. And notice that the dotted line down the middle, that's showing a line of symmetry. Because if you notice that if I folded that shape over on that line of symmetry, it would be exactly the same on both sides. So I'm going to show you that with this little heart right here. So kind of similar, right? If I were to fold it on its line of symmetry, then both sides should be exactly the same. So I'm going to fold it in half on that line of symmetry. And see that? So you'll notice that both sides are exactly the same size and the same shape. You don't see it kind of going out bigger on one side than the other. It's exactly the same. But if I try to fold it, let's say in half this way, you'll notice that that's not a line of symmetry, right? Because both sides are not the same. So this side has these two parts and then this has the point, right? So if I fold it over on that line, they're not exactly the same on both sides, so therefore that is not a line of symmetry. But down the center like this, that's a line of symmetry because they're exactly the same on both sides of that line. Make sense? So let's look at the next part. So lines of symmetry can be vertical, so that means up and down. A line of symmetry can be horizontal, which is that from side to side, or a line of symmetry could even be diagonal, this way diagonal, or could even be this way diagonal. So there's a lot of different types of lines of symmetry. It could be straight up and down, could be side to side, or it could be at a slant and diagonal angle. Also, shapes can have different numbers of lines of symmetry. So some shapes might not have any lines of symmetry. So for example, like the letter J, there are no lines of symmetry. If I cut it down the middle, is it exactly the same on both sides? No, because this side has kind of this up part, right? If I cut it horizontal and folded it over that line, wouldn't be exactly the same. And same thing with a diagonal line of symmetry. If I tried that, again, if I folded over that line, it wouldn't be the same on both sides. It's not congruent, so therefore that doesn't have any lines of symmetry. It happens. So like in this shape, kind of looks like an L. If I fold it over its vertical line, you'll notice that it's not the same on both sides, right? Because this side doesn't have this part that sticks out. So that doesn't work, not a line of symmetry. If I fold it over on its horizontal line, again, not symmetrical because it's different. This half is different than this half, right? And if I tried diagonal, yeah, that wouldn't even work at all. Totally different. Yeah, they don't match up. So this is another example of something that doesn't have any lines of symmetry. Let's look at the letter M. So the letter M, it shows only one line of symmetry. If I fold it over right down the middle on its vertical line, it would match up perfectly. Notice how they both have points at the top. They both go straight down. So yeah, these are exactly the same on both sides. If I fold it over that line, they'll match up perfectly. Look at the letter I. Now this one has more than one line of symmetry. It actually has two. And some shapes even have more than two. Sometimes they have like 8 or 10 or sometimes even 100. Like a circle can have like a million, right? So this one I could fold it over its vertical line, and it'll be exactly the same on both sides. It has exactly the same makeup on both sides of that line. But what if I do the vertical line, or sorry, the horizontal line? That works too. If I fold it over this dotted line, if I folded it in half, this would perfectly match up and line up with this part. So they would be a perfect match. So lines of symmetry basically just means exactly the same on both sides. Keep in mind too, even if it's like a picture of a face, right? If I were to fold over that half, if the eyes are the same, you know, the lips are the same, the ears are the same, it would be a line of symmetry. Or think of like a butterfly. If a butterfly, you fold it over in half, the wings would perfectly match up, right? And they probably have the same exact design. If it has like spots or lines on the butterfly, like it would perfectly match up. So keep in mind, even if it has some kind of like design on it, you have to consider, is it the same on both sides? So that's pretty much it. Line of symmetry, I think, is pretty easy. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take a look at the exit slip. And what we actually did was we combined 10.5 and 10.6 into one lesson because it's pretty much all the same. It was lines of symmetry, and then how sometimes there can be more than one, only one, or none. So we kind of just combined both lessons because it was relating to the same thing. So the exit slip will have about 8 questions, I think, and relating to what we just talked about. So take a look at that. Please make sure you write your name on it. I don't know it's yours unless you put your name on it. There's a space at the top of the exit slip that says name. Click on that, type in your name before you get started, and then you can hand that in. Also recommended, there's Go Math Games that I assigned that has this lesson. Khan Academy and Freckle all have assignments relating to lines of symmetry. And another mandatory lesson, I'm sorry, I forgot, was Think Central. So I did assign something on Think Central. There's like 10 questions, I think. Make sure that you go on that. That's mandatory. So exit slip, Think Central, you need to do it now while it's fresh in your brain. And then other optional math work would be Freckle, Khan Academy, and Math Games. So check those out. I hope you enjoy lines of symmetry. They're pretty fun. I think you guys will like the assignments. So go ahead, check those out, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.